You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Right, Chris.
All right. Good evening, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good night, goodbye. Hello, depending where you are listening to us from. This is LTiDtv from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for joining us, whether you are watching on YouTube, and if you are, please feel free to comment and join in the chat. Or if you're listening on catch up on your favourite podcast player, thank you for lending us your ears. It is a pleasure to have you with us. And if you are watching this on YouTube on catch up, don't forget you can add your comments in below. And any Leeds fans out there, oh, I've missed you. I've missed you. Where have you been? Where are the Leeds fans? Let's be having you, as a famous cook once said. You were all over me chat a few weeks ago, and then you lost. And you know what? Haven't seen you since. Isn't that a surprise? No, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, here is where I do my B&Q moment. That is, it's time for a shameless plug. If you do like your Leicester City apparel, and why wouldn't you, get over to artoffootball one thing or another. I think it's .com. It is indeed artoffootball.com. They've just launched a new range. It was launched by Easy Life, the Leicester band. When you say Leicester band to me, I think Show Waddy Waddy. But apparently my youngster has a signed Leicester shirt by them on his wall. So apparently they're down with the kids, whatever that means. I just thought you got arrested for that. But yeah, so if you want to, they have got a new range out. Here is a t-shirt. And the reason I'm not wearing it is a very good reason, because I then couldn't show you the back, where most of the artwork is. Different colours, different sizes. Do get over and support them. Like I say, artoffootball.com. They do support the channel a lot, so thank them very, very much, and thank them for the t-shirt and the sweatshirt as well that they sent me. They've got hoodies, they've got all sorts. But we've got a football match to talk about, and it's all getting a little bit squeaky bum, isn't it? Spencer Knight says good evening. Renee's in good evening, as is John. Renee says, I hope we win. Yes. That's all I can say to that. Wayne is in. Hey up, Chris. You'll miss the Leeds fans next season. Right. Well, at this rate, it could be the fact that they go up and we don't. So let's not presume too much. Jack, I presume, Jack, you're either a West Brom fan or a Leeds fan. I'm not sure which, but actually. It's actually a Leeds shirt that I've just gone around with a black marker and coloured it in, but don't tell them. It was available for 50p in my local charity shop, the Leeds shirt. I just had to pull their logo off. But look, yes, talking of West Brom, we are playing them. You've said about 4 times, Rennie, about that. So, yeah, let me bring my co-host in, he said, and here he is. The amazing wise old Al Craig. Good evening,
amazing,
sir. How the devil are you?
What do you want? I can't remember you ever calling me amazing. That's for sure.
Well, it's because we're on camera.
All right, fair enough. Just a quick one. You know, you're talking of Shawaddy Waddy. Leicester's sort of fourth or fifth finest. They are they are they are actually. It's funny. There's someone from work's going. So on Saturday night they're playing a homecoming gig at De Montfort Hall, right here in Leicester. There are a few tickets still available. The funny thing is, have a guess how many of the original members there are in the band still.
One.
There is one. It's the drummer, Romeo, and he's one of two original members who were not born in Leicester. So when they say homecoming,
yes. Well, when they say show waddy, it's
more shoddy. I think this is.
Hey, be careful! I'm a good friend of the lead singer. So
Dave he's been on here before, I know, and I was on with him once. I think we had a couple of questions back and forth. No, lovely band, and I'm sure whoever's going will have a fantastic time.
Have you heard of Easy Life, by the way?
I have heard of Easy Life, mate. Yeah.
There we go. You see, you're down with the kids. I'm not.
I am indeed. Yeah.
Talking about an easy life. They've been fifth all season. It feels like, and anything less than that now. So surely sack the manager. But let's bring him in. Great name he's got, Chris. Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, Chris. I mean, look, we don't all call for our manager's head if we have a couple of bad results. We don't all boo when we're top of the league. So let's not go down that route. We're happy with Carlos Corberán come what may.
But then again, Chris, not all of us have had Steve Bruce.
No, and yeah, but it's not just based on pure comparison that Carlos Corberán's better. He's just. I would happily suggest he's better than 95% of managers in this division, but there you go.
I presume you're talking Carlos now and not Steve Bruce.
Oh, God. Yeah. I'd struggle to give you a list of Steve Bruce's more positive qualities as a manager, to be honest.
Well, Chris, are you? Sorry, just a quick one, mate. Chris, are you? Basically nailed on fifth. You can't go higher, can't go lower.
No, far from it. Norwich, I believe, are a point behind us in sixth.
Oh, okay.
And then Hull are in seventh and are 7 points back, but have a game in hand. So theoretically speaking, were we to lose to you in the early kickoff, Hull would play twice before we would then play again, which means Hull could be within 1 point of us by the time we next played again.
Right, so all hopes that you've got nothing to play for other than just keeping your players out of injury trouble.
Far from it. We desperately need a win to stop us from having to basically rely on favours elsewhere. We need a win in the next two games, otherwise we're sweating a little bit.
I must admit, I looked at the table just before I came on the show here, just to sort of make a few notes, because I thought you were nailed on. In the playoffs, I thought you could, but no, far from it. And I'm just having a look then. Steve, just to go back to Steve Bruce, because I know you Craig gave you an outlet there to avoid talking about him, but not only Steve Bruce, he actually had a 25% win record while he was with you, but that was still better than Sam Allardyce, who in 2021 had a 15% win rate.
Yeah, but one was manager in the Premier League and one was manager in the Championship, Chris. I mean, let's compare like with like here. I mean, it's not very fair to compare the manager who tried to keep you in the Premier League, as you guys well know, it's not the easiest division in the world. Steve Bruce had us bottom of the Championship. That is what it is. Sam Allardyce, I will happily put my neck on the line and say would not have had us bottom of the Championship.
There you go, Chris.
Yeah,
you've left him actually
stunned
speechless.
him into silence, haven't I? It absolutely stunned him into silence.
Yeah, you left him speechless. So just going back, let's not talk about old managers anymore. Carlos Corberán, he's been decent for years now. I mean, I remember when we played you, I think we were pretty lucky to get away with our late winner. But he's made you, I guess, solid with a little bit of a sprinkling of one or two players with a bit of class.
Yeah, I think that's a fair summary. Look, we're probably or we certainly have been for most of the season, probably the most organised team in the division. I would go as far as to say. I mean, you look at some of the other teams up there, and they win games at times by sheer weight of chances created. You know, Ipswich just absolutely bludgeon teams to death with their attacking talent. I think Leeds at times do the same. I think Hull, despite not having a striker, can probably say that they do similar with the likes of Philogene and Carvalho, and probably Norwich with their front three as well of Borja Sainz and Gabriel Sara and Josh Sargent probably do similar. We don't really do that. We've not been high scorers at any point in the season. We're extremely well organised most of the time. We've had a bit of a lapse recently where we've let a few in. We've had a couple of 2-2 draws, which is very un-Albion under Corberán, to be honest with you. But for most of the season, it's been, you know, I know you're not a massive fan of XG on this podcast, but it is. You look at the games in an XG form, and it's like low on both sides. We don't create a great deal. The opposition don't create a great deal, but we are, I think I'm right in saying we're one of the teams in the division that's overscored our XG the most, which basically means we're pretty clinical generally when we get a chance. We've got good players in that final third. So yeah, we're a low margin team, but we've been a bit daft lately. Like I say, a couple of mad 2-2 draws.
It's a long time since the word clinical has been used in a positive sense on this channel. I can assure you.
I did see Patson Daka against Plymouth, so I can see where you're coming from on that one.
Don't start me on that one. Don't start me. And I do apologise. It is my end. Just the last few weeks, my internet has been playing up, as Peter Kay would say. But I missed a lot of that. I do apologise, but I take it you are very happy with Carlos.
Oh God, yeah. He's been phenomenal. Like I say, I mean, you've got to look at the job he did or he's done. Not putting him in the past tense. He hasn't left us and gone for pastures new just yet. He took over when we went bottom of the championship in his first game. He then took us to within one fixture of the playoffs last season. He's had us, despite having a summer where it seemed like pretty much everybody was up for sale because we were desperately trying to keep the lights on in the training ground, and taking out millions and millions in MSD loans to do that. He has managed to have this team in fifth for pretty much most of the season. Certainly the business end of the season, months and months. Yeah, okay. We've had a little bit of a wobble lately, if indeed you can call it that. Although until we lost to Sunderland, I don't think anybody was even looking at it as a wobble. But it's one win in five. 3 draws, a win and a defeat, which is not brilliant, but it doesn't colour what we think of him. The guy is just, he's tactically phenomenal. He's made so many players better. He's just a brilliant manager, and we're extremely lucky to have him. And to be honest, I think if we keep him much longer, we've done very, very well, because I would be surprised if there wasn't bigger clubs coming sniffing very, very soon.
We were talking very highly of Enzo earlier, about 10 weeks ago, Craig. But as Chris mentioned earlier, there's a lot of discontent going around at the moment. Actually people physically calling for him to be sacked. I mean, his brief was not necessarily to get us promoted this season. No. So if he doesn't get us promoted, it will be disappointing because of where we've been all season. It's like if Albion don't finish fifth, so that would be disappointing. But surely, I mean, he's like I say, he's got 2 seasons to get us out. I said at the start of the season, I had two predictions, heart and head, and my head said I would gladly take 7th if it meant we went up the next season, like Burnley did. Well, we were ahead of that. He is stubborn though, isn't he? And I do apologise. I have got Birmingham up there on the badges. Sorry about that.
I think he is. I think you can accuse him of being stubborn and a little bit one-dimensional. I think sometimes we have to sort of take a step back and think this is a manager in his first season at this level of intensity of football, which is relentless, and yes, would you judge a player as harshly if he didn't hit the ground running straight away once he's had his first season with you?
I think we do as Leicester fans.
Well, yeah, but you don't sell them straight away. You see the positives. I mean, we had Cassidy at this club for a bit before he went to further his career on the Chelsea bench, and there was glimpses there, and you could see glimpses of a good player. So you gave them a little bit of time. You excused the bad game or whatever. But with a manager, it seems that we don't. You can be brilliant and then you're just awful and you should be sacked. There's no kind of middle ground here. And I think
I was just going to ask, but you are second, and you if on points per game, you're technically top because you're averaging 2 points a game, and you're a game behind the teams above, behind Ipswich.
Yeah, his the biggest crime that he's got against him is continuing to play Daka, I think, and over a number of games now, I'd say from the Leeds game, we've had enough chances to win every game. Not all Daka, Vardy missed 2 for him were kind of sitters against Bristol City, a game that we went on to lose. We did it again against Plymouth and we went on to lose. So I think not sorting that striker position out is at the core of all of the discontent that's coming around, because we've been on a bad run of games that we should have won and won comfortably.
Yeah. Well, he'll sort himself out at the weekend because he always scores against Albion.
Well, I was going to say he's got previous, isn't he? I know he was very well thought of at your place.
Well, Jamie Vardy does what Jamie Vardy does, doesn't he? He's a big one for celebrating at the Hawthorns right in front of the home fans. You can't, to be honest. If he played for us, we'd love him. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If he played for us, we'd love him for it. But obviously, he's scored a couple of big goals against us. I think generally in 3-2 wins for you at the Hawthorns and celebrating in front of the fans. It's never going to go down.
Despite our latest run of not such good form, shall we say, Opta have actually, I'm looking on a couple of sites here, on the BBC are quoting this as well. Leicester are still predicted to win the league. We've got 62% chance of winning the title. Ipswich 22, Leeds 13, Southampton 3. No, I don't know how Opta work these things out. Percentage of automatic promotion. And if we are second, I'll take that. Give me second now. I'll bite your hand off and say, thank you very much. Let's get on the beach. 84% chance of automatic promotion, 62 for Ipswich, 43 for Leeds, 11 for Southampton. And this is only today, so this is after Southampton's win. Predicted final points, 95 for us, Craig, 93 for Ipswich, 92 for Leeds, 89 for Southampton. I'll just put that one. I'm not sure what that one is, but I'll put it up anyway. Craig, we'd take that, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I think that's something to do with global warming and the world temperature.
Probably.
I mean, it's got to a point now where I know you were very keen on getting the record for the number of for the highest number of points, Chris, and then you were very keen on winning the title. So just so we went one ahead of Man City, and now it's a case of can we just get over the line, please?
That is our season, though, isn't it? And yes, earlier on, let's be honest with you, we should be, and I'm not being big-headed, but it should be done and dusted by now.
It could have easily been done and dusted. As I say, just the last 5-6 games, it could have been all over by now. Easily.
If anybody reads the BBC website, bbc.co.uk/sport/football/teams/Leicester City, more slashes than an old man, that can't control his wee there. But if you do go, just search bbc.co.uk/Leicester City. And this Tuesday's fan voice, I do it every week, and I put at the end of it, I went, if you're a neutral, this is a fantastic end to the championship season. Unfortunately, I'm not a neutral. But yes, I would take second at this point because it's yes, if you get the title and what have you. Chris, look, I can't say much else other than this. Otherwise, I've never seen Harry Winks move as quick as after he scored that goal. And he celebrated like Shearer in his bed. I mean, it was a tight game, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, and to be honest, we probably feel a bit hard done by to lose it. I thought I wouldn't go as far as to be as blasé and say that we were the better side, because I don't think that would be true. But I think we were worth a point over the 90 minutes, to be honest with you, and we've just got done trying to win it. What was weird about that is actually we got done in pretty much the same way in just a couple of weeks, to be honest, because in fact in the very next week we got done against Sunderland in almost exactly the same way. So it's a problem that we actually had around that time, that we were putting a lot of players in the box to try and win games late on, and we were leaving Connor Townsend back, but even he was probably a little bit too far up the field, so the break was always on, and with the pace that you guys have got, it was always going to be a problem. But we seem to have sorted that problem out, because we still use the long throw technique late in games, but we don't seem to overcommit quite as badly as we did for that game. But yeah, you took full advantage. It was a weird game because your fans were jeering your own players at 1-1. And then minutes later, they were proclaiming them as heroes. It was I've never seen such a 180-degree turn from a fan base in all my life, to be honest with you. But
if you look up Leicester City fans in the dictionary, the one word next to it is fickle. There's no two words. Yeah, do you remember those days, Craig, earlier in the season when we used to score late goals before we turned it around and started conceding late goals again?
Yeah, I do remember it. It's been just such a weird season, and because the fans were not on board early on, because we were scraping results, but it was very slow, laboured, and then through the middle period, when we started stretching away with getting wins on a regular basis, comfortably, and playing some nice, attractive football and dominating the ball, and then it's all just come down to missing chances again. But the fans, I'm lost for words half the time. There's fickle, and then there's Leicester City fans, and it isn't everyone. But it's the social media world that we live in. That they're straight on there and reacting to it, and we have this song that does my absolute head in, because the same people will sing it, and they'll sing it, through good times and the bad, we always back the lads, until something goes wrong, and then we're right on them.
I think for me that the thing is, like, when I do the watch along, I mean it's a full watch along, so we start with the preview, we do the first half, it's half time, we do the second half, and then there's the immediate post-match reaction. And yes, I lose it. I've got to be honest with you, when we play badly and when we've lost. And that's putting it mildly. But if we then go back, jump onto the review show, which we do the day after, it's a completely different, because you've had time to take it in and look at it. And so it is that immediate response. But it's when people have got that immediate response 3-4 days later that I'm kind of like, well, still. But yes, I mean, I'd take that tomorrow. I'd take that on Saturday morning, definitely. Chris, this is your season. I mean, if that was a heart, you'd be dead now, wouldn't you? I mean, you like fifth, don't you?
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, but it's not really flatlining, is it? Flatline is good in this situation. Yes. So, yeah. I mean, look, we've been largely. We've been really, really consistent. But at the same time, and this is where I don't really understand the reaction from Leicester City fans any more than I would expect, than any more than I would understand it from any other group of fans. you are not going to go through a season just being super consistent in the Championship. I don't care who you are. Okay, we've seen a couple of freak teams in recent years. Burnley last year were unbelievable. Fulham, when they had Mitrovic up front, were absolutely incredible as well. But everybody has a dip. Now, unfortunately, when you have a little bit of a dip towards the end of the season, that's when everybody panics, because you haven't, if it does end up causing other teams to catch you up, you haven't got enough time left in the season to remedy that. We are having a little bit of a dip, although it is still 1 defeat in 11. It's worth saying, but we've only also won we've only also won one of the last 5 as well. So it just depends on how you want to look at it. But it is a little bit of a dip. We have dropped. We've dropped 9 points out of the last 5 games. That's the real stat, and it has allowed teams to just pull us in a little bit, not that much. But if we were to, as I say, if we were to lose to you guys, there is a scenario where Hull could be right on our tails come us travelling to Hillsborough next week, which is obviously not what we want, but. I mean, you've had a bit of a dip as well, and again, Leicester fans have panicked about it, and I sort of get why. But then, at the same time, I mean, again, you've lost the last 2. You won the 2 before that as well, and everybody around you's having a little bit of a wobble. Leeds lost at the weekend. Ipswich could only draw. And when I see some of your fans, because I'm sure it does not representative of all of them, calling for Maresca to be sacked with you second in the league and 4 games to go, I would love to know what those people think that sacking a manager with 4 matches left is going to achieve in a positive sense, with the season still competitive. I could understand if you were mid-table with nothing to play for, then there's point in sacking the manager there and then. But when you are still absolutely fate in your own hands, what do they think sacking the manager with 4 games? Who honestly do they think that they are going to get with 4 games to go to come and step in and do a better job with Maresca's players who've been trained to play Maresca's football all season? What magic wand do they think is going to get waived?
Yeah, you're talking as if these people have got any common sense, Chris, and I think we know that's not the case.
Everybody seems to believe the new manager bounced, don't they?
Statistically, it's utter rubbish.
Yeah,
it really is. But basically, most of the time, the new manager bounce is just a bit of natural variance working itself out. Because a lot of the time, when a manager gets sacked, they get sacked because a team's playing beneath itself, and those players are capable of a little bit more. So when you bring the new manager in, the players don't actually they just reach their usual level. And the variance works itself out, but I don't like I say I don't I'm worried a little bit about the weekend, because I think after 2 defeats I really don't see you making it 3 on the spin, because that would be a little bit of a crisis.
I hope you're right.
We know how that new manager bounce worked for us last season.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Look how many people chop and changed. We sacked Slaven Bilic during our Premier League season. We went through a series of getting beat 4-5 and 6-0 under Sam Allardyce until he got his training methods into the players and really worked with them for maybe 5-6 weeks. Well, you haven't got 5-6 weeks. You've got 4 games. So changing the manager at this stage would be utter lunacy, in my opinion.
Craig, I've got to ask you, have you been going to church?
Go on.
Well, I mean, we have got, I was saying for weeks, when is our dip coming? When is our dip coming? And I've got to I hold my hands up and say, it's probably my fault therefore. But we've had this dip, and as Chris just said, we're still there. We're still in with a shout. We've won 2 of the last 6, but we were top up until the weekend. We lose, and other teams are not taking advantage of it. And I'm feeling like somebody up there is looking down on us. The old name on the cup.
Yeah, I mean, I think as Chris said a minute ago, every team's going to have some blips. You know, Leeds, Southampton, Ipswich, they've all had blips and they've spread them out. We've had all our blips in one go, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing you're also seeing is the teams that are having the blips now are the ones that play high energy football and are now 40 odd games into a long old season. And those levels are starting to dip a little bit. You cannot be as relentless as the likes of Leeds and Ipswich are, who just throw men forward all the time and keep doing it. And mentally as well, to game after game, particularly the teams that have come down. I mentioned this before, Leicester, Leeds, Southampton, you know, they'd all be on the beach now after this number of games. Yeah, last season, the season would have been long gone, you know, all over and done with. And now we're still playing high level games, you know, with a lot of pressure on them as well. So you are going to have those dips. The players are good enough to get the job done. We create enough chances to get the job done. It is literally a take the chances and we'll be fine.
Well,
I think the other, sorry, Chris, sorry, Craig. I was just going to say the other thing to note about this, and I know obviously it's your guys' first season down for a while, so you know you're probably not used to this in the Premier League. Between the haves and the have-nots, there is an enormous difference, and you genuinely can't. The worst teams do lose most weeks, and the best teams do win most weeks. In the Championship, particularly this season. Take Rotherham out of the equation because they're absolutely beyond terrible. But take Rotherham out of the equation and you go from 23rd all the way up. Genuinely, is there that much between? I don't think, other than Rotherham this season, there's a genuinely terrible team in this league. That even the teams that are at the bottom, there is, you know. Sheffield Wednesday a second bottom at the moment. Is Sheffield Wednesday a bad team? No, absolutely not.
They were earlier in the season.
Well, but then they've got a new manager in who's got them organised, and they look a good side. Look, there was a brilliant quote from I think it was from Pierre van Hooijdonk, who he said about the Championship. He said if you replaced all 24 clubs' managers with cats in the Championship, at the end of the season, one cat would win the league, and three would get relegated, which would mean we'd have one cat who's a genius and three who are rubbish. And it's true, because not that we replace them with cats, but the point is that just because a team is 23rd, it doesn't make it awful, because somebody's got to be 23rd. And Sheffield Wednesday are a decent side. So
I do remember earlier in the season when we did the Stoke, and we just beaten Stoke 5-0. And I said before that game, I said to Stoke on the preview, you won't go down. There's three worse clubs than you, and that's what you need at the end of the day. You know, fourth and bottom, and build on it next season. And after we beat them 5-0, I went, nah, there's not. But you know. Then Sheffield Wednesday QPR, they looked all but gone with Rotherham. But like you said, from 23rd up to 16th, there's 6 points difference there. But looking at the form table there, going into this, I mean, Leicester, our current form is 17th, but our home form is 11th. West Brom, your current form is 14th. This is based on the last 5, by the way. And your away form is 9th, which I suppose in a way like makes you a slight favourites. You have only one, like you said, that one in the last 5, and in fairness, that was Rotherham. The games that you've drawn there, Millwall, and look, we lost to Millwall, Watford, and Stoke. Are they games that you should have been winning?
No, not well. Based on what happened in them, no, not really. I mean, Stoke, you'd say maybe because we were 2-0 up in that game, but to be honest, we were second best for big chunks of that game. Watford, we were absolutely abysmal for up until the point where they went 2-0 up, and then we changed it around and we really went at them. Millwall absolutely destroyed us for the first half, and then. We changed it around a little bit at half time. We got a penalty, and to be honest, we were very, very happy to get out of there with a point. As I say, I don't necessarily judge teams too much on results, because especially when you're a team like us, because we're so low margin. We if we lose, we usually lose by one. If we win, we usually win by one, which means games can generally go either way. The daft thing is, out of those games you're looking at there, there's a very strong argument to say that our best performance out of all of them was the one we lost against Sunderland, because we were completely dominating that game up until the Asante red card on 42 minutes, and then and even in the second half, they didn't really create that much against 10 men, and we had a couple of minor opportunities to possibly nick a point out of that. I think that was the most control that we've probably had in a game, other than Rotherham, who were just absolutely terrible. And like I say, I just write Rotherham off as a game because you can't judge anybody on how they play against Rotherham. But I just, to be honest, I think our form has been a bit iffy. It's been a bit, we've been a little bit lucky to get the draws that we have. And I think a defeat was coming, because we were unbeaten in 10 before we lost to Sunderland. But you know, in there was a 2-2 draw against QPR, where we were very happy to get away with a draw. A 4-1 win against Huddersfield, where we're absolutely terrible in the first half. Went in 1-0 down and came out and blitzed them in the second half. Even Plymouth away, we were pretty toothless for 45 minutes and came out and took them to the cleaners in the second half. There's not been that many good performances of late. And it's largely been down to a little bit of a lack of control at times in games. And I think I hold out hope that the performance that I saw against Sunderland, especially in the first half before the sending off, is a little bit of a return to that controlling games, discipline. You know, Thomas Asante has obviously lost his discipline, lost his head, and gone and got himself sent off. But the other 10, and plus the subs, really did show that control and discipline that Corberan needs, because we will need that against you, because our game plan is not going to be terribly complicated.
Well, we're going to come on to game plans in a second. Craig, looking at that, we've not lost 3 in a row all season. That's a kiss of death, isn't it? You know?
No, I know we'll come on to it.
Turn up, basically, is what I'm saying.
I mean, the big thing is, as I say, it's in our hands, and I painted the scenario to you, before we came live. If Leeds get beat by Middlesbrough, we win our 2 home games, we're promoted. That's it. Yeah. So the players, everyone around the club, should just have that as their goal, and getting these 3 points is going to be massive, because we're playing first. It really puts the pressure on everyone else to try and get a result.
I didn't realise Leeds aren't playing till Monday night, so they've
exactly
really got to wait, if you like. It's like waiting to take that penalty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think, Craig? And I've forgotten what my question was going to be now. No, it's gone. I had a really good question then, and it is completely. I went off on a different tangent.
How about we just pretend, yeah, it's a really good point, Chris. I think you're right.
Thank you. You know me well. That was it. The other thing that gets me about fans is, and a lot of them say this when I do the watch along before we kick off, that this is a team we should be beating. They're in the bottom half. They're fighting relegation. We should be beating. And I got so much of that for Millwall and so much of that for Plymouth, and obviously Bristol City before that. And I'm like, these teams are fighting to stay in the division.
Yeah.
That, in a lot of ways, is a harder game than playing somebody that's up there fighting for promotion with you.
Yeah, I get it to a point, because when you look at the assembled squads, the cost of the assembled squads, the quality within the squads, you can make a judgment to say, based on the squads, yes, we should be beating them, but we know that's not the case, is it? And again, you can look at games. We should have finished that game against Plymouth quite comfortably in the first 20 minutes, and we didn't. But then you've got other teams who are doing pretty well. One of the worst performances I've seen all season was Preston away at Southampton the other night. Absolutely appalling. So any team can throw in a dodgy performance. But in theory, yes, we should be beating these teams. But when you're not playing with confidence, it doesn't matter if you're the best player in the world. If you haven't got confidence, then it affects your game in a massive way, and nowhere more than if you're the striker. And if you're playing without confidence, you have an extra touch or you snatch at things. And that's where I say, the biggest criticism of Maresca has been, to come out and say, I don't think he's helped himself in the past 10 days, coming out with comments such as the best way to give a striker confidence is to keep playing him. Yes, but you're putting the rest of the team and the results at risk, as we're saying. And to also say that I can't change things around because the players who are on the bench I've not given enough game time to, and therefore they're not match fit. That is a shocking statement to make from a manager, to be honest. And maybe it's just naivety of him being his first season that he's not balanced that right. He's not used his squad enough to make sure that they're all match fit. The old adage was always be that the players have got to be ready when they're needed. But he's been leaving them on the bench, not making substitutions until 10 minutes from the end of the game. It's hardly surprising that the players are not match fit. So when he turns to look at them and thinks, can I change them? Yeah, I'm not sure. So he's making a rod for his own back. But I'll say it again. Take the chances we create and we'll all be very, very happy.
Looking at the table there, with our recent form, I'm gladly taking second. Like I say, I think somebody up there is smiling at us. I've said for a while, and I thought that last time we played you, Chris, that it was going to be a tough game. It was going to be one of our toughest ones. And I'm really worried about the weekend. But you've been there pretty much. You've got that sewn up. Again, it would take something, I think, special. I mean, I said this whole technically could catch you, but they've got to win probably all their games, and you've got to lose some, hopefully, starting on Saturday. But all season, it's been like fifth and sixth. Six, if you like, has been. Oh, who is it this week? It's been a different team. How for you? How if you weren't finishing the playoffs? Would that be a failure in your eyes?
No, look, people will view it as such because we've been in fifth for so long, but I don't think if you try and view a season on your expectations at the start of it, then no, it's probably it's not, because we weren't expecting to be here. But people will view it as a failure if we miss out on the playoffs because we've been fifth for most of the season. It's natural. Look, you talked about the sort of social media generation, everything. People throw around the word bottle so much when when it's such a load of rubbish. Look, you're quite right in what you say, in that Hull will have to get some very impressive results between now and the end of the season to be honest, to even make us need another point. They're probably going to need 3 wins out of 4 to make us do that. And given that their games are three of them are away from home, and they've got to play Watford away, Coventry away, Ipswich at home, and then Plymouth away. Yeah, that is a little bit of a big ask, but I don't think it's going to take anything crazy for them to go and do that. I think. Look, it's very, very easy to look at the other teams' fixtures and start totting up. What if they do this? What if they do that? I think the equation is really, really quite simple for us. I honestly believe if we win one of our remaining 3 games, I think that will be enough, because our goal difference is a lot better than most of the other teams up there. So as long as we don't take some sort of a ridiculous hiding somewhere, I think 3 more points probably does it. I think 75 does it, because if we get to 75, that basically forces either Hull City or Coventry City to be completely perfect for the rest of the season. Like they would have to win. One of those 2 teams would have to win all of their remaining games, which is not out of the question. They're both good enough to do it. But I think 3 points forces them to be perfect, and I think gets us into the playoffs. But it will be viewed as a failure if we don't get there. Is it really? Not for me, but it will be a huge disappointment given that we've had this in our own hands for so long.
Looking at tactics. Is it your top goal scorer that's banned, isn't it?
It is, although interestingly, I wrote an article on this for the Albion Analysis Substack yesterday. If you want to go and find it, there are articles there for free about this weekend's game, and Chris himself is even there doing the opposition view for us very, very kindly. But I did a piece on who the options were to replace Thomas Asante, and actually I hadn't realised this until I started doing my research, but we've won 6 away games this season. In 5 out of the 6 that we've won, Jed Wallace has played at least some portion of the game at centre forward. So I think he is the most likely replacement for Thomas Asante. He's nowhere near as much of a goal threat, but I think he rather suits the way when we're effective away from home. And by the way, the one of the 6 that he didn't play at centre forward, which we won, was, shock horror, Rotherham away, the easiest game of the season away from home. So I think he suits how we play away from home. He's not a massive goal threat, but he presses defences. He's a real bundle of energy. But also, he's not really going to occupy the number 9 position, which means that the likes of Johnston from the left, Fellows from the right, and Dean Garner from the 10 position can come in making late runs, which are obviously more difficult to pick up, and fill that number 9 space as balls are coming in. I actually think even if Thomas Asante hadn't been suspended, I think there's a really strong case that he wouldn't have started this game, that he might have gone with Wallace anyway.
And what sort of formation do you think you'll be putting out? Is it pretty standard? Does he stick to his guns?
So it's the same. It's generally the same formation, although he varies the tactics based on the opposition. But it's generally the same formation. We know that the back four will be, barring any injuries, will almost certainly be Furlong, Bartley, Kipre and Townsend. I haven't seen the injury news. Bartley did come off against Sunderland, so I don't know whether he's got a problem going into this one or not. But I would be almost certain that the 2 centre mids will be Koslu and Mowat, with Dean Garner ahead of them. On the right, I think it will be Tom Fellows. On the left, it's often been Mikey Johnston, but I've just got a sneaking suspicion that he's going to throw Matt Phillips in for this one, because he defends better, and I think that Townsend is going to need some support with Fatawu going at him, and I think he may put Phillips in, because I think Johnston would leave Townsend isolated against Fatawu, and I think Wallace will be the one to fill in the 9. He might go with Maja, who came through an hour for the under-21s after his injury, but it's a big ask for a guy who hasn't played, has only started 1 game all season, and he only lasted 40 minutes in that one. So I think the most likely one in the 9 will probably be Jed Wallace.
Yeah. I mean, I want to do my team later. I'll let you go before we start getting deep into Leicester, because that will just bore you. But and I don't want you to passing on any secrets. We need changes, and when you see my team, Craig, you'll probably laugh at me, because I have gone for a lot of changes. But it's not going to happen with Enzo, is it?
I doubt it, to be honest. I doubt it very much. As I say, the positions that are more likely to change will be central striker and potentially left back. There's an outside chance that Cody may get in apart from Fast, but the formation will be the same. Yeah. It's just the personnel may change. I just got to say, though, I really like Jed Wallace. I think he's a really intelligent footballer, and I liked it. I think, did you get him from Millwall?
Yeah. And do you know what, Craig? You're absolutely right, because the amount of different roles that he has played for us this season. He's our captain. He's our leader. He's, by all accounts, an absolutely brilliant bloke off the pitch as well as on it as well. And I just think when you've got a manager like Corberán, I think it's really important that Corberán can't be on the pitch with them, marshalling them around. And I think it's so important that a manager like Corberán has a representative on the pitch. And Jed Wallace embodies Carlos Corberán's approach and attitude and instructions on the pitch. And he's an amazing captain, and we're lucky to have him.
It's almost like having what quarterback, isn't it, Craig?
Not quite, mate, but yeah, very close.
Sorry, Chris, it's an in-joke. Now, very quickly, just a couple of items, then we'll let you go, Chris, and I appreciate you coming on. We do this every week. It is Craig's favourite part of the show, being at both, where I pick a player or manager or tea lady that has worked or has played for both clubs. He's not forgiven me still. I can see in his face he still hasn't forgiven me for Howard Wilkinson. But who do you think, Craig, this week I have gone for?
I've not had a chance to give it a lot of thought, to be honest. So I honestly don't know. Chris. I think there's two things. One, no one really springs to mind as being a great player at both clubs, but you might, put me right on that. Plus, the other thing is you just pull some random weird stuff. So
I do not. How very dare you?
Yeah. I mean, you could go for your very own manager, of course.
Of course.
Was an outstanding player for us.
Yeah.
Before he went to Juventus.
Mm.
I mean, I thought that might be a little bit too easy. Andrew here said Mark Albrighton, but I have gone a little bit further.
Harvey Barnes.
Oh, what a player, by the way. I'll tell you what. Ask Albion fans about Harvey Barnes. I mean, the expression "never fall in love with a lone player" was built for Harvey Barnes.
Yeah.
You broke our hearts as well as our season taking him back, and then you barely played him. I mean, honestly, we'd have gone up that year if we kept him. He was unreal. Do you know what? I still love it every time I see him score a goal for Newcastle because I just adore him. I want him to have an unbelievable career. I want him to win everything. I just think he's a phenomenal player.
Well, it's not him. But no, I do feel your pain there. Actually, this is somebody who started his career at West Bromwich Albion and went on to become, under Nigel Pearson, what I can only describe as a fan's favourite, and that's Mr. Lloyd Dyer.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Now, I don't know whether you remember him at all, Chris.
Oh, God, yeah. Of course I do. In fact, it's interesting that you bring up Lloyd Dyer because probably his breakthrough season was in our second promotion season under Gary Megson. That's when he broke into the side towards the middle to end of that season, and he had some really, really massive moments for us. He scored a brilliant goal away at Ipswich in a 3-2 win. But the moment that he is remembered for, and interestingly, you should bring up Lloyd Dyer because it is on this day today. I'm not sure the exact number of years ago, but on this day today, we played Sunderland away, and Sunderland were our nearest challengers, and we knew a draw pretty much guaranteed us promotion, but a win, I think, virtually mathematically guaranteed us promotion. So they were throwing the kitchen sink at us in the last minute of the game towards big Kevin Kyle in the box, pumping balls in. As the ball went in and all the Sunderland players were up, we clear it. Lloyd Dyer picks the ball up on the edge of our penalty area, runs the length of the pitch, beats about 3 Sunderland players as they throw their bodies at him, and then just rolls the ball into Jason Kumas, who slots it into the bottom corner to give us the win and basically secure promotion. So Lloyd Dyer is something of a hero at the Hawthorns. He obviously didn't. I'm
going to move on because I know, Craig, you are pushing for time, aren't you? You've got to go in 5. So yeah, a few things to go. We loved him, didn't we? And what a shame he didn't stay with us when we got promoted.
Yeah, no, he was great for us. I think if I remember rightly, he scored the goal that took us up from League One, was
Bolton, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, an away one. Yeah, he was great. He was great for us. I mean, yeah, he could throw a dodgy performance in, but just that pace and tenacity that he had. You know, if only we had a couple of players like him. you know, this season would have been great. No, really good for both clubs by the sounds of it.
The one that we all hate, score predictions. I think it's only fair to go to our guest first, isn't it?
I think so.
I think so. I'm a bastard like that. But Chris, what? I mean, we always usually end up with a head and a heart prediction, but what do you see the score being if you had to predict it? Can you go away with 3 points?
No, I'm not confident enough to predict 3 points. If we get 3 points, it'll be 1-0. Let's put it that way, because I feel like that's how you're losing games at the moment. Is you know, just conceding a goal, a team literally parks the bus and then and you can't break through. But I don't see that happening at your place. Your home form's been a little bit better. If you want a head and a heart, my head says that you will probably get back on track with a 2-0 win. My heart says we get a really, really important hard-earned point, and I would take a 1-1 right now, 100%. I would absolutely take that. So yeah, head says you win, heart says a draw.
Craig, a point's not going to be enough for us, is it?
No, I think I wouldn't say confident, because, you know, West Brom are no mugs. They're a decent team and they are going to be hard to break down. But
yeah,
I'm going to go with a 3-1. I think we bounce back. I think we hopefully, you know, we start well and the crowd are behind us. And yeah, I'm going to go 3-1.
I haven't put my predictions in yet. I need to do that after this show. I'm going for 2-1. No disrespect, Chris, but we need the win. And if
so do we.
Yeah, well, yes, of course you do. But from my point of view, yeah, 2-1. I can't see us keeping a clean sheet because we can't seem to do that at the moment. But I'm going to go for a 2-1. But be nice for us both to go up. But who knows? Who knows? Chris, thank you so very much for joining us. Very remiss of me at the start. I have put your links in the description below on YouTube, but just do give a quick shout out to where people can find you.
Yep, Albion Analysis. We're obviously on everywhere you would usually get your podcasts from: Spotify, Apple, all those usual bits and bobs. We're on X if you want to give us a follow at Albion Analysis, and we drop all our links on there. And we obviously also have a Substack, as I mentioned earlier, with an article from Chris himself on there as well at the moment. And while some of it is behind a paywall, there's still some free preview content on there as well, if you want to go and have a look at the Albion side of the preview to Leicester Albion.
Well, good luck for the rest of the season after Saturday, and all the best, mate. And well, maybe you say we'll be playing each other next season, but one division higher.
Maybe
all
we'll
the
be
best,
playing
mate.
each other in the playoffs, Chris.
No, don't want that. We don't like the playoffs. Take care, buddy. All the best.
Thanks. See you later. Bye.
All the best. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks to Chris very much for coming on. Do appreciate that. Very quickly, I know you've got to go, Craig, but I've just put my team up there. I have gone for changes. Is Craig frozen? Is that me, or has Craig frozen? Can everybody hear me? Well, I will take you through my team. I think Craig has frozen there. I still seem to be. Craig has gone. So look, there's my team, and this is the starting 11. And I just think we need something different. We can't keep regurgitating the same team week in, week out. Yes, Hermansen's got to start. I've gone for 4 at the back. Ricardo dropping more back, although he can obviously still go forward. We've got Cody, we've got Vestergaard, and we've got Doyle. I just think Doyle, if he's on his game, he can ping a great pass, but obviously so can Justin. But I think we need Cody in. FaZe hasn't been impressing me much just recently. Oh, hang on, he's very back. I thought he'd gone then.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I know I've got to go, but I wouldn't do that. The battery died, so I just thought I'll come on.
No, that's okay. Just very, very quickly before you do go, that's my team.
Right.
Okay,
Let's
so
have a
I've
look.
got 4 with Ricardo, Cody coming in, Vestergaard and Doyle. Ricardo obviously can come forward. Midfield, I've got Eunice and Winks. So I just think Eunice, when I saw him play against Bournemouth, he was just terrorising the defence. Yes, he couldn't shoot, but they didn't touch him in case he got a penalty. Let's give Albrighton a go on the wings and see, because Fatawu and Mavididi kind of gone off the boil a little bit. So if he's fit, McAteer, let's give him a go as well, because he was playing well at the start of the season. And then we've got to drop Daka. We really have, and you bet you never thought you'd hear me say that. I quite fancy Inacho in that role just behind Cannon.
Right. Okay.
And
You're
then
not the first to
Cannon
say that. My
front.
brother said exactly the same. Although he had it the other way around. I think he had Cannon in the hole, which I don't think would work for me. He's an out-and-out striker for me, Cannon.
Yes. But your overall thoughts on that?
It seems like too many changes to me. I'd be playing Cannon. I think the thing with, if you're playing Cannon, there's probably more of a reason to play Albrighton. I think if you're going to play Albrighton, you need a striker who's going to be in the box,
exactly,
attacking balls. So if you're going to do that, then I could say Albrighton. If not, there's very little point to it. McAteer, I'm not convinced on McAteer, to be honest. I think he's got more of a goal threat in terms of coming late than Fatawu. But we've seen Mavididi, notching a few decent goals this last few games. But on the back, coming in on the back post, I think he's got a goal threat. I don't think he's got a trick in him. So if you're looking for a tricky winger, then McAteer, I'm not sure.
Those tricks haven't really done much for us the last 2 games.
No, they've not. Yes.
But
he does pose a threat. And what it tends to, if you've got a tricky winger, what happens is that the defenses tend to double up, which leaves a man over. If you've got a winger who's just trying to go past people at pace or whatever, it tends to be that the fullback can cope with them. So I think having tricky wingers just does give you a little bit of an overload sometimes. But for me, Cannon's the one. I can fully get on board with Cody coming in for fast. Really disappointed against Plymouth. That was awful defending. And Doyle, definitely, again, I think if you're looking to switch the play quicker, then Doyle will do that. So so not far off, Chris. But
my only worry
I'll give you an 8. I'll give you an 8 out of 10.
Funnily enough, that's what Brad gave me. Give me an 8. My only worry is not a lot of speed in that defense, so we wouldn't have to go quite as high. But anyway, who know? We know what it's going to be, But are you going on Saturday?
Oh yeah, I'll be there, and hopefully I'll see us get the first of those 2 victories that we need, and we can all start to breathe a little bit easier.
That would be great. Tell everybody where they can find you, sir.
Yeah, best place. Get me on X at Craig Bird.
Quick, short, and to the point.
That's me.
The way his wife likes it. Craig, thank you very much, sir. Have a good one. We'll speak after the match, no doubt. All the best, mate. Take care.
Cheers, mate. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye. So there we go. Now, Andrew was agreeing with me there. Cannon for Daka and Cody for FaZe. So kind of agreed. Look, I have not been saying, and if anybody's been watching the recent, well, certainly watching the watch-alongs at the weekend, I gave Daka in the scores, and I think I've thrown it out here. Yes, I threw it out earlier. But I gave Daka 1 in his performance at the weekend. So I'm not a Daka fan. What gets me is that people are jumping on this Daka bandwagon, but they weren't jumping on the Vardy bandwagon when he missed those against Bristol City. So yes, I get it, but this is a team game. It isn't just, his face when he was substituted. And when I was at Bournemouth, I could see the Bournemouth fans having a real go at their striker, who was a bit like Daka, cunted to barn door with a banjo that night, and he hadn't done for a few games apparently. They can hear it, and it really gets to them. And look, I think at the end, if you want to boo, you boo. You pay your money, you're entitled to it. But while they're playing for 45 odd minutes in the first half, 45 odd minutes in the second half, don't be calling the players. don't be getting the players. It's not, I saw his face when he went and sat on the bench, and it wasn't, I felt for him. But look, he's been playing absolutely crap. My opinion with Daka is he needs to be dropped for his own peace of mind. He does need that breakaway. And yet, okay, Enzo's been saying, I'm going to play him till he scores. I'm going to play him till he scores. He'll get hung on the Daka petard. And, he was brought in before AFCON. He scored the goals. But then so did Cannon. When Cannon came in during AFCON, he scored a couple of goals. So let's not, get hung up on Daka. And let's just give the guy a bit of respect and a bit of peace. He's got to be taken off out the team for his own good, I think. It seems the obvious changes, Chris, Cody and Cannon. I think it does. And like I say, if we're putting Cannon on, why not put Albrighton up and see? Because he can still cross a ball better than most other wingers in the division. And I have to think Iheanacho, when he's on, he can provide that link between, the midfield and the striker. And we're not then relying on Cannon to have to come deep all the time. And if you look at the heat maps after the game, and I do, whoscored.com, you can see them. All the strikers, not just Daka, but Vardy, Iheanacho, Cannon, their actual heat maps are hotter in midfield than they are up front, because that's how he wants them to play, which is fine, but it's not winning us games at the moment. I want to just go through this, and this is what all the teams need. Let me just get this so I can read it. According to the Opta supercomputer, now Opta, obviously they are the FA and the EFLs. They do all the stats for them. Leicester chances of promotion have taken a slight hit, but they remain favourites on 85.7%, likelihood of going up. Not bad for a team that have lost 3 of their last 5 games. Their game in hand over Leeds and Ipswich is likely helping them retain their favourites tag for now. Leicester will be champions if they win out. They can currently reach 100 points, the most of any team. But they'll be guaranteed automatic promotion if they win 3 of their remaining 4 games. Craig said it was 2. They're saying it's 3. I think it's 3. I thought it was 3. Ipswich will be automatically promoted if they win all 3 of their remaining matches. With 2 wins and a draw will be enough if both Leeds and Saints drop a single point. As those 2 clubs play each other on the final day, at least one of them is guaranteed to do so. Leeds must first hope the clubs above them slip up and must, of course, likely beat Southampton on the final day, while Saints' relevance to the automatic race depends on their game in hand, which is obviously now against us because they played Preston and beat them midweek. They faced Preston at home on Tuesday, which they did, and Leicester away on Tuesday the 23rd. The latter will, of course, dictate the Foxes' own chances of going straight up. So that's how it's looking at the moment. And coming up, of course, Southampton at home on Tuesday. So the shows that are coming up, let me just run through them. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, we've got the Prediction League. And that will be with, obviously, Brad and Dave. I do need to put my predictions in. So that will be coming up tomorrow night, like I say, at 7 o'clock, the Prediction League. On Saturday at 11:45, as you can see there, we've got the watch along live on here. Pre-match, we're going through the team news and the gossip. First half and second half watch alongs, half-time assessments, and full-time match reaction. So that's from 11:45 on the Saturday. Depending on the result, we may or may not do a review on the Sunday. But Sunday night at 7 o'clock, we've got a Southampton preview. That's on the Sunday. And then Monday, a little bit later than normal, 7:30, is going to be Let's Talk Leicester. And we'll see on that because Kate will be on BBC. She'll be doing her BBC thing, first of all, on Monday night. So she'll be joining us then. So that's what's coming up. This has been the preview show. Thanks to Chris. Like I say, his links are in. Do get over, like I say, follow him. I have done the opposition view for him this week, answered a load of questions for him. So get over there, check out what I've had to say. And thanks, as always, to Craig. He had to go. So I know he'd got another appointment. I think he's going out with the missus. So thanks to both of them. Thanks to everybody that's been in the chat. Really, really, really do appreciate it. Do take care. Don't forget, if you want to message me on X, and if you are a subscriber, I am looking for one more mod. I'm a mod down at the moment, and I'm looking for another permanent mod in the chat. So if you fancy doing that, message me on X, and we'll have a chat about it and take it from there. But thank you very much. And if you have been, let's say, if you're watching this on catch up, and your comments below. Keep it respectful, though. Otherwise, it'll just get deleted. And if you've been listening via your favourite podcast platform in conjunction with TalkSport, I thank you very much for that as well. Nervous, tense, headache. Too bloody true. See you. See you for the match at 11:45 on Saturday. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
The TalkSport Fan Network is the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts,
including Leicester Till I Die, independent analysis and reaction for the Foxes faithful.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
Unbeatable club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Follow the podcast on the TalkSport Fan Network.